Ah, currently, working on my art piece. Now, before I tell you, like, before I show you the picture that I'm working on, I want to go over the epilogue first of how this came about, how Nate's time machine came about. So, from 2 to 6 on here, there's 6 of these. All this is not going to be read because it's not written right. Nate is an adventurous guy that loves to explore, so he got the idea to build a time machine to explore ancient civilizations. Nate's dream is to see the past, to undiscover hidden secrets of the Egyptian pyramids, so Nate had an idea to build a time machine. Nate searches scrapyards and wrecking yards for the parts for his time machine that he wanted to build. Nate gathered all the parts he needed. He soon realized the only part was missing, so Nate went searching for the part and found it in old Red DeLorean in the old city dome. Nate went back to add the missing part, and at last Nate's time machine was complete. Nate was ready to test his time machine to travel through time. As Nate set his time machine to bring him to the past, Nate steps back to take one last look before stepping into his time machine. Nate's first adventure in his time machine was to the Egyptian pyramid. As Nate enters the pyramid, Nate finds 3 pathways. Nate knows that each pathway is filled with the unknown and dangers that could be ahead because of the hidden secrets of what was so long ago. So that is the epilogue so far. We still need to write 5 and 6 of part of the epilogue. Now, for those that don't know, I already have footage now uploaded to my YouTube channel and on TikTok of the time machine, because apparently I didn't think about making a copy of the first fan art piece I ever gave to Nate the Voice before putting it in the envelope to mail it to him. Luckily, this time I remembered that from my my last mistake. I remember this time to make a copy. Now I don't keep my originals for, like, if I'm making an art piece for anybody, I feel it's best to give them the original. I don't think it's fair that they have a copy and I have the original, because I don't make my originals for me. If I'm not making it for me, then I don't keep the original. If I'm making it for somebody like Nate, for example, I give Nate the original because that's his. It's not for me. I didn't make that for me. I made it for him. So, that's why I remembered to make a copy. And instead of using regular paper, I used photo paper. But then I just put it in like a clear folder thing, as you could see. So that is the first one, and each picture has a name except this one, because I'm not sure what I'm going to name that. This one's called Meeting Hades, though Nate told me that's not how you pronounce that. It's actually pronounced hiatus, but I'm still calling it Hades because I think it's a better name. Basically named after Nate's album, Howin's Hiatus, I think. Anyway, so this is where Nate's time machine malfunctions and travels him to a different time. I didn't explain that part in the epilogue, did I? Okay. So basically, number 5 is well, guys. Actually, let me try to explain number 4. Okay, number 4 is based off of this picture. Now, in this adventure, Nate decided to go to a suburban neighborhood. And this house is actually the same house in that picture right there. The picture I made, I think, in 2018, in September, I think. Same exact house. It's just this one takes place across the street from that. Okay, so back to this. So whenever Nate goes to on many different adventures, he tries to be social. He's a character that loves to be social, loves to meet new friends, and loves to talk and loves to explore. So while exploring the suburban neighborhood, he came across a crow named Hiatus, or Hadus, or whatever you want to call it. So this is when they both decided that they can, time travel. Now, how did they meet? I basically already explained it, but as Nate was going through the suburban neighborhood, the crow came out of nowhere and got to meet him for the first time. Okay, so number 5 is actually supposed to be written completely different, because the way I have this written is not the way that it should be written. But number 5 is actually a part I need to explain. Apparently, this adventure, after many adventures together with the crow, now that he's not alone, they went on many other adventures together, but this adventure turned out to be not so great. Apparently, when Nate's time machine malfunctions and sends him to a small town in the middle of a hot, dry desert, he soon finds out that he has no way to go back, because as soon as he's teleported to that time, the time machine is already gone, so he can't really go back. Meaning, the crow is stuck in the time machine and between different dimensions and slowly getting more and more dizzy. Because, to me, whenever I see a time machine, if you're in between different times and dimensions, you're going to be all dizzy. Time is going to be all over the place, and it's going to be spinning all over the place, so that's how I see it. But that's where the story begins. And then number 6, I haven't even started, because we need to rewrite the epilogue. We need to rewrite that. Anyway, hopefully I explained it good enough. And this right here is basically like in the morning. This is when Nate tries to figure out what's wrong with Jack, because Jack is not taking any of Nate's advice seriously. He's messing around, joking, trying to boss him around and all that, and be mean to him. And then Chase comes in and explains to Nate why Jack is acting the way he is, and you could probably already tell. If you don't know about the story about Jack got scarred by a venomous snake, and instead of, since this is the dimension where some things don't work the same in the real world, where Nate is from, instead of the venom slowly killing him, it slowly turns him evil. So it's really messing with his head. But Jack got that scar a couple of days before Nate arrived. So now a lot of the townsfolk are scared of Jack, because he tends to pick on everybody else and does mean things and doesn't take anybody seriously, if that makes any sense. Hopefully I explained that one. Now this one is the one I'm currently working on. This is when Jason overheard all the conversations about this when Jack threatens to eliminate Nate and Chase. And then Jason comes in and tries to stop it. And then Jack challenges Jason to a fight for leadership. In fact, this one has a name, and it's called The Fight for Leadership. Original. That's the original right there. I need to make another copy, because when I made a copy of it, it was before I barely did anything. All it really was Jack and Jason, and that was pretty much it. So, in the background, there's Nate, and then, of course, there's the hat from this picture. And so I basically already explained this on my YouTube channel with Jason's role, but Jason's role is actually to go look for supplies and food for the town, like different towns. He goes to many different places in town, and he also tries to gather like stuff for like medicines and antidotes and all that. But apparently the one antidote he needed, he didn't really have, but he claimed that he already did finish the antidote, because he didn't want the whole town to go in panic mode, due to them already being in a lot of stress because of Jack easily losing his temper. And then Delilah, which is Jack's girlfriend, like after the fight scene, Jason gets badly injured, and before Jack can hit the final blow, that's when Delilah steps in and stops him and kicks him out. And so Jack grabs his hat and just runs off. And then I'm not going to pull it out, but I have a paper that was kind of explaining what Jack does, like after he is exiled from town. So after Jack is exiled, he thinks about his revenge and what he wants to do, but though he's unsure about if he's going to do it or not. So he runs off far from the town to where he basically cannot be seen from a far distance. And that should give Jason enough time to recover from the fight, due to him being severely injured in some places. Yeah. So the whole town basically tries to keep an eye on Jason and keep an eye out for Jack in case he comes back. After that, Nate gets a little upset about the he starts to doubt himself, thinking that he won't be able to go back home, his time traveling days are over, and that he won't be able to save the town because he feels like he can't do it. So then he decided to rap about his doubts to try and cheer himself up. And then, as he was rapping, he didn't really pay attention to who was listening. He basically gathered the whole crowd, basically the whole town was listening, gathered around him. And then after he was done singing, after he was done rapping the ode, you can find it on SoundCloud only. He was like very nervous about all that, having a whole crowd around him whenever he was trying to cheer himself up. So then he just ran off in the same direction that Jack went, because Jack went that way towards those mountains, those hill thingies. And so in the background here, there's going to be the back of the saloon and the back of the store and some other stuff. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I just know that whatever I'm going to do, it's gonna be far off in the distance. So you're not really you're not really going to see so much of the town. You're just basically going to see like a whole bunch of flat areas with a whole bunch of mountains in the background, and maybe not so much of mountains like this, but like smaller, like much smaller. But a whole bunch of cactus is going to be around. So also there's going to be a whole pack of coyotes, because in this track I'm going to use coyote. I'm going to use coyote for this. And there's going to be a whole pack of coyotes singing the ending part of Coyote. And in fact, that's the album cover for that track right here. Now, you can probably see why I went for Nate's character to be a coyote. See why? Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. So then, after Nate is feeling confident enough to do what he was told, and basically his purpose here for the time being, he goes back to town and checks on Jason to see if he's able to move, because he was so badly injured he couldn't get up and walk. He was hurting so bad he couldn't walk. He basically had to lay down because of how badly hurt and injured he was. But after like a couple hours of Nate rapping or whatever, and talking and stuff, he comes back to check on Jason. So Nate checks on Jason, and then Chase managed to fall down from the saloon. Because as clumsy as he is, you know, Chase, he's all clumsy. He chose to stand on top of the saloon during the fight. But anyway, Nate talks to Jason, and then when he's finally able to get up and move again, that's when he admits to Nate that the antidote was not ready. The antidote isn't ready for Jack, because he only needed one last ingredient. So if I can remember this right, it was cactus juice, water, tree sap, and rattlesnake venom. I believe that's all the ingredients needed to make the antidote for Jack. So then Jason tells Nate and Chase to go along with him to help him get the venom to make the cure. So then they head off in the opposite direction that Jack went. They try to find a few more cacti. I think that's how you pronounce the plural for cactus. Anyway, so whenever they find the snake, Nate's part is to pounce on the snake whenever Jason finally gets the snake out of the hole. And then Jason has to hold a bucket so that way it could be filled with venom, so that way they can carry it back to the saloon, because in the saloon there's a door back there that leads to a secret lab for Jason, because Jason has been here. It's a very well known place for him to come over and just visit, because it's his most favorite place to go. Is the whole town. His most favorite town is this town. So, anyway, this might actually be on YouTube instead of Facebook. I'm gonna do a part 2 on this. So, yeah, I'll be back with a part 2. See ya.